The Luna moth exists in a category of life that is difficult for the human mind to accept. It is not designed for longevity, accumulation, or recovery. It is designed for a moment. In evolutionary terms, it represents a strategy that rejects endurance in favor of precision. Every feature of the Luna moth's body, from the absence of a functional mouth to the exaggerated geometry of its wings, reflects a biological philosophy that values timing above all else. The pale green coloration of the Luna moth is not simply camouflage, it is synchronization. It matches the spectral quality of moonlit foliage, a visual harmony tuned not for daylight predators but for the nocturnal environment in which it operates. During the day, the moth becomes nearly invisible against leaves, not because it hides, but because it dissolves into the background. Evolution did not give it speed or armor. It gave it invisibility through resemblance. Its wings are large relative to its body, thin yet structurally complex, covered in microscopic scales that refract light softly rather than sharply. This diffusion prevents sudden flashes that might attract predators. The long tails trailing from the hindwings appear delicate, almost impractical, yet they serve a highly specialized defensive function. When hunting bats emit echolocation pulses, those tails scatter and distort the returning signals, creating false targets. In many cases, the bat strikes the tail instead of the body, allowing the moth to escape with minimal damage. Survival here is not about strength, but about misdirection. The evolutionary ancestors of the Luna moth emerged during a period when forests were expanding and stabilizing across temperate regions. As flowering trees diversified, so did insects that specialized in exploiting them. The Luna moth's lineage adapted to deciduous ecosystems where seasonal predictability allowed for short but intense life cycles. Rather than spreading reproductive effort across time, this species concentrated it into a narrow window, maximizing success during optimal conditions. The larval stage is where the majority of the Luna moth's life energy is accumulated. As caterpillars, they consume vast quantities of leaves, primarily from trees such as walnut, hickory, birch, and sweet gum. Their feeding is methodical, relentless, and efficient. Each molt represents a recalibration of growth, allowing the caterpillar to expand rapidly while avoiding prolonged exposure to predators. The green coloration, combined with subtle yellow striping, mirrors leaf venation, further reducing detection. Internally, the caterpillar's physiology is oriented toward storage. Lipids and proteins are accumulated at levels far exceeding immediate needs. These reserves will later fuel the adult moth's entire existence. Once the caterpillar reaches maturity, feeding stops completely. The animal enters a phase of withdrawal from the external world. The cocoon stage is often misunderstood as a period of rest. In reality, it is one of the most violent transformations in the insect kingdom. Inside the silk enclosure, the caterpillar's body undergoes controlled disintegration. Muscles dissolve, organs break down, and cellular structures are reorganized according to a new blueprint. This process is not gradual, it is decisive. By the time the adult form is assembled, many systems present in the larva no longer exist. The digestive tract is reduced to a vestigial structure. The mouthparts never fully form. This is not a flaw. It is an optimization. When the adult Luna moth emerges, it does so at night, minimizing exposure during its most vulnerable moment. Its wings are soft and crumpled at first, then slowly expand as hemolymph is pumped through the veins. Within hours, the wings harden, tails extend fully, and the moth becomes capable of sustained flight. From this point forward, there is no replenishment. Every movement consumes finite energy. The adult moth's behavior reflects this limitation. It does not wander aimlessly. Flight is purposeful. Males are equipped with large, feathery antennae capable of detecting pheromones released by females from astonishing distances. This chemical communication operates at concentrations so low they challenge conventional measurement. A male can orient himself toward a single receptive female across vast forested landscapes, navigating by gradients of scent rather than sight. Females, by contrast, are more sedentary. Their role is to release pheromones, mate, and lay eggs with precision. Egg placement is not random. Leaves are selected based on chemical composition, ensuring that emerging larvae will have immediate access to suitable nutrition. Each egg represents a calculated investment, positioned to maximize survival odds in an environment filled with threats. Daytime remains a period of stillness. Luna moths rest on tree trunks or foliage, wings closed or spread flat depending on surface texture. They do not flee unless disturbed. Movement increases visibility. Stillness preserves anonymity. In this way, the Luna moth embodies a paradox. It is visually extraordinary, yet behaviorally invisible. Its beauty is not meant to be seen often. It is meant to be rare. The social dimension of the Luna moth's life is nearly non-existent. There are no family units, no cooperative behaviors, no learned traditions passed between generations. Each individual operates independently, guided entirely by instinct encoded through evolution. Interaction between individuals is brief, functional, and final. Once mating occurs, separation is permanent. Reproduction marks the beginning of the end. Females deposit their eggs over several nights, often weakening rapidly as energy reserves are depleted. Death follows soon after, usually quietly, without spectacle. Bodies return to the forest floor, becoming part of the nutrient cycle that supports the next generation. In ecological terms, nothing is wasted. Predation pressure remains constant across all life stages. Eggs are consumed by insects and birds. Caterpillars fall victim to parasitic wasps, whose larvae develop inside them, ultimately killing the host. Adult moths face bats, birds, and small mammals. The Luna moth does not attempt to eliminate these threats. Instead, it produces abundance. Survival is achieved not by protecting each individual, but by ensuring that enough offspring exist to compensate for loss. This strategy has functioned effectively for thousands of years, but modern environmental changes introduce new variables. Artificial lighting disrupts nocturnal navigation, pulling moths toward urban areas where mating opportunities are absent and predation risk is high. Pesticides reduce larval survival rates and contaminate host plants. Climate change alters seasonal timing, causing mismatches between egg hatching and leaf availability. The Luna moth's specialization, once a strength, becomes a vulnerability in rapidly shifting conditions. It cannot adapt behaviorally within a single lifetime. Evolutionary change requires generations, and environmental change is now outpacing that process. Despite these challenges, the Luna moth remains a powerful ecological indicator. Its presence signals intact forest systems, chemical balance, and seasonal stability. Its absence often precedes broader biodiversity decline. In this way, the moth functions as an early warning system, reflecting environmental health long before larger animals are affected. Culturally, the Luna moth has acquired symbolic significance. Its brief adult life has been interpreted as a metaphor for impermanence, beauty, and acceptance of limitation. Unlike species that dominate landscapes through force or numbers, the Luna moth persists through alignment. It fits its environment so precisely that conflict is minimized. This is perhaps its most profound lesson. Survival does not always require aggression or durability. Sometimes it requires surrendering everything unnecessary. The Luna moth carries no excess. No backup systems, no contingency plans. It trusts the design that shaped it. To encounter a Luna moth in the wild is to witness something already disappearing. By the time it is seen, its life is more than halfway complete. There is no opportunity to observe growth, learning, or aging. There is only presence. In a world increasingly defined by accumulation and permanence, the Luna moth offers an alternative narrative. One where success is measured not by duration, but by completion. Not by how long something lasts, but by how perfectly it fulfills its purpose. When the Luna moth vanishes back into the forest, it leaves no trace beyond memory. And that, in itself, may be the most intentional design of all.